Welcome back, and in this video we're actually going to be looking at electrics and the cabling that we now need to do for this build. Now whilst what I'm doing isn't necessarily going to be suitable for your van, because every van is completely different depending on what you're putting into your van, but what I can do is teach you about the different types of cables and why we use these type of cables and in what circumstances. Now, predominantly, you're going to be using 4 different types of cables. The first one is your 230 volt 3-core cable. Now, you can't use standard house cable. This is called Arctic grade, and this is suitable for your higher and lower temperatures. It's also designed for flexibility. We're then going to be using your typical 2-core 12 volt cable and also single core 12 volt cable. Now one thing you will notice on all 3 cables, including the 230 volt, in a house that would be just a single conductor, whereas on this one it's multi-strand. The same on the 12 volt, and this one you can see it a bit better, so that's fanned. The reason these are all multi-strand is because of the flexibility, and you need to use these kind of cables in your camper conversion. The 4th cable you're going to be using is your solar cable. Again, this is a multi-stranded cable. What's different on this particular cable is that the outer insulation of this cable is UV and weather resistant. So this is designed to be outside, because obviously you can have it on your roof, coming off your solar panel and then through your solar entry gland. Now, as well as all these cables, you're also going to be wanting some conduit. So we use a split conduit, and what that means is there's a slice in it all the way down. What are we using the conduit for? Now, whilst we want most of the cable to be as accessible as possible, some of the cable needs to go into the walls of the vehicle, and they could be running in pillars up here, through your D pillar at the rear, and that cable is then going up against things like this, which can be sharp. Okay, so you can see like this is a standard OEM for the van, and again, it's in a conduit because it's going through sharp metal. That conduit is simply there to stop this metal from chafing against the insulation and obviously cutting through it. So it's just to protect that cable as it's passing through any electrical parts. Now, whilst the whole run of the cable does not need to be inside the conduit, so where we would have it coming out for our electric board, we will stop that just as it comes out the wall, and then it'll be back to a normal cable, and potentially the same on the other end. So say for example, I'm running a cable all the way through, say, the max fan at the front. Okay, I'm going to conduit the cable all through here. It's going to come up here, it's going to come across to here, and then it will come out, and I'm going to bring that over to the max fan, and the conduit will stop about here, and then I can connect those cables. So the conduit is very important. We see a lot of builds without it, and I can't recommend it enough. This is something you definitely need to prioritize and make sure you're doing when you're running your cables inside your van. Now, the next thing you need to consider is your cable sizing. All these 12 volt cables come in different sizes. So if we look at this one, this is a 2mm cable, and this is capable of 26 amps, whereas this one is a 6mm cable, and this is capable of 50 amps. And we're going to use those in different circumstances. So you need to look at what the cable is going to supply. So let's say we're going to a fridge, and for argument's sake, we'll say the fridge is pulling constantly 20 amps. Now you could say, well, I could run then the 2mm cable because that's rated at 26 amps. But there is something else we need to take into consideration here, and that is the length of the cable. The longer that cable is, the more voltage drop you're going to have, and this is something else you seriously need to consider. So your cable sizing and voltage drop, they go hand in hand with each other, and there is calculators online you can use to help with your voltage drop calculations. I'll put a link in the description below. So whilst the 2mm cable would do a fridge, we actually run a 6mm as standard. Now you will find the voltage drop calculator will actually tell you a 4mm is adequate in most circumstances, but my attitude is the fridge is one of the appliances where that circuit is almost always constantly live, so it's something that's always being used, so it's something we upscale, because if our cable is undersized, that's going to produce heat. Which leads me on to explain some differences between 230 and 12 volt, because you'll quite often hear people say, oh, it's only 12 volt, it's a lot safer than 230 volt. I disagree massively, and I'm going to explain why now. So we've got a man pushing a rock up a hill. The man is the voltage. The higher the voltage, the stronger the man is. You then have your amps, which is what we're pushing, and then you've got your resistance, which is your cable. Now, there's a couple of things to note. The higher the voltage, the stronger the man is. Your amps is your weight that's being pushed through, and the resistance is the size of the cable. Now, the smaller the cable, the greater the resistance is, because there's less copper for the amps to travel through. Whereas when you've got a thicker conductor, let's imagine rather than the hill being like that, it's more flat. So the amps are going to pass through and be pushed easier by the voltage. Hey, future me, weighing in a little bit on what I've just said. 230 volt, then, because it's stronger, it pushes the amps easier than what 12 volt does. 12 volt has to work a lot harder to get that amps through the cable and past that resistance. Hopefully that kind of makes sense. So the problem with them people saying 12 volt is safer than 230 volt is simply the fact that, yes, whilst if you get a 12 volt electric shock, it's unlikely to kill you or hurt that much. But the problem with 12 volt is because the voltage is so much lower, it's a lot easier to create heat. So if you've got a cable that's undersized, that produces heat because the resistance is too high and the voltage isn't high enough to push the amps that's going through it. So this is now where voltage drop comes into it. So again, if you're say starting with 12.8 volts at the start, where that's what you're pushing from the very beginning of that cable, and it's got to travel 3 meters before it gets to the end destination. By the time that 12.8 volts starts and travels through that cable, by the time it gets to the end, that 12.8 volts is no longer 12.8 volts because we've lost some of it. And that could be potentially 12.1, 11.8, depending on the size of your cable. And this is why it's so important that we are using the right size cables for the right application, but we're also doing our voltage drop calculations for every single cable that you run, so that we know that by the time you get to the end of that run, that your voltage is adequate for what you need for the end appliance. So just to give you an example of doing a voltage drop calculation. So I've got the app on my phone, which I'll put up on the screen for you. When I go into this app, you can see at the top, I can select either AC 3-phase, which we don't need to worry about, and then your DC. So we want DC. In your voltage, I personally put 12.8 if you're using lithium. So all this now is going to be based on a lithium iron phosphate battery. So I know 12.8 volts is going to be pretty much the bottom of where that battery is going to be when it's about to be depleted. Obviously, when that battery is fully charged, it's going to ride more around 13.4 volts. So we're going to use 12.8 because we're going to use more of a worst case scenario. And let's say we're running a DC to DC cable, okay? So that's the cable that's going to go from your cab battery off your alternator all the way over to your DC to DC charger in the rear of the van. It's a 50 amp DC to DC charger, and the cable length is 5 meters. Whilst at 50 amps, we should be able to use a 6mm cable, because as I said earlier, the 6mm cable will take 50 amps. However, we've got voltage drop to consider. So if I actually look at the 6mm cable, over 5 meters, we get a huge voltage drop that brings the voltage down to 11 volts. So scrolling up, I can see it's telling me over 5 meters, the minimum safest cable we need to use for this particular application is a 35mm cable. And that is purely down to the length of the cable and the voltage drop. So you've heard me now starting to talk about some of the products that we use in our electrical systems. Don't worry too much about that right now, because those sort of products are going to come in later on when we're doing our electric board. Right now, all we need to do is get this fan cabled, so we have the right cables in the right places for all the applications that we are going to need. First thing you need to know is, where is your electrical system actually going to be fitted? Now, for example, we're going to have a garage in this vehicle, so I could choose to do my electrical system in the garage to the side here, and we've also got a bench seat at the front here, and I could choose to do the electrical system here. So that's where you're going to want your cables to start. Now, if you're starting in that area, you've also got to bear in mind you're going to want to be leaving about a meter tail, because you're going to need to use this cable later on to connect into your electric board. Then you also want to find the best route to get where you want to go. So for example, let's say my electrical system's in the garage here. I've got a fridge, first thing in the kitchen over here. Now, I'm not personally going to be going up in the pillars, around, down, across, and then coming out, because I'm going to make that cable a lot longer than I need to. Because this vehicle is having a bed bulkhead that goes across, what I will actually do is I will leave a nice long tail here of about 3 meters, and that will come through ready for the fridge, because I know later on when that bed bulkhead is in across here, we will use some Victron trunking across here, and that will then go straight into the electric board. The point is, I'm making that cable as short as I possibly can. A, I don't want to waste cable and money. B, I don't want to increase the voltage drop by making the cables any longer than I need to. So if my electric board's this side, everything that's electrical on this wall, so bed, USBs, our sections here, will all actually be tailed here. So later on, when we put our bed bulkhead in, they can run in the trunk in and straight over. That's going to be about 2.5 meter run, as opposed to if I go up here, there's 1.5 meters there, another 1.5 meters there, another 1.5 meters there. We're at 4.5 meters, plus it's got to come over here 2 meters, 6.5, up. We're around 7 meters long, so you can see the difference. So this is something that's important when you're planning your electrical system into your van. We want the cables, A, to be as short as possible. Make sure you're sizing the cable correctly by using the voltage drop calculator. Okay, so we have gone through your cable sizing, looking at what ampage is going to be drawn through that cable, and then we've taken into consideration your voltage drop. We're also going to run the cable through the conduit, which we use a little feeder tool, so you can find these on like Amazon and various other places. Worth getting, they're only a couple of quid, and it makes that job so much easier and saves your fingertips, because the split on this conduit is a little sharp, and when you're constantly pulling apart and pushing cable in, your fingers do start to hurt. So now what we're going to do, I'm going to cable up this fan. It's a good few hours for me to do that, so I'm not going to bore you with it, but I'll pick you back up when it's done, and we'll just quickly run through the little bit of extra details we do when we're cabling it. We've done all the cabling, and it looks a little bit like this. So like I said to you earlier, we're going to have cables that are going to run across the bulkhead. So right now we have those tailed there. They're long enough to come across and then into the electric board, which will be mounted here. The ones from this side are all coming down to here. We've got the max fans are connected. This is for our ceiling lights, underwall cabinet lights, and then we've got some light switches, USBs, and 230 this side. And then this side again, 230 light switches, water pump, and the Truma boiler feed. That's all done. Our next step now is going to be the ceiling, so join us in the next video.